And we are live. Good evening again for
Evening.
another show with this podcast for a soul with the School of Conscious Evolution. My name is Daniela Florio, and I'm a medium, a psychic, channeler, a crystal therapist, and a teacher. Tonight on the show, I have the honor to have as a guest Marek Loris. And I apologize profusely because I think there might have been a typo along the way that didn't correct um, over my typo of for the surname Loris. How are you, Marek? Good
I'm
evening
great.
and welcome. Very
Good
welcome.
evening. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me. I've been looking forward to this.
Indeed.
And I'm looking forward to our chat over the next minutes. Be great.
Minutes.
Looking forward to
Absolutely,
it.
absolutely. And so, as we are going, so I am currently going to log on to Facebook as well because there have been some technical issues with the Wi-Fi at my end. So I'm trying to manage as well as I can tonight the chats and everything. Good evening, good evening. As you may notice yourself, people start connecting to us now, and it's tell us, like how we met.
Oh, we met at the Felbridge Fair, the lovely well-being fair,
Yes, yes, indeed.
organised by Natalie Williamson.
Yes,
And I kind of walked into the room. I think I was still carrying my stuff, and so all the things for the table and my exhibition stand and all of that, which is actually here at the moment. And somehow I just kind of stopped in front of you, and we
mm,
just started chatting,
yes.
and it was just a really nice conversation. And I thought,
Yes,
oh,
it was. It was. That was quite
yeah,
interesting to find out what it is that you are doing. And it's, I don't know, I just picked up on your energy. And, as I started talking to you, I felt like very relaxed. And I felt that there was like a lot of wisdom about you and knowledge. And so, unfortunately, as it goes, unfortunately, during these events, for as much as we want to talk more or maybe exchange service, even, we end up that we just, as quickly as we exchange the contact details, poof, we get completely absorbed into the day.
yeah,
And
it
but
was a great day.
fortunately, yeah, it was a great day.
Mm.
It's yeah, it has been a very, very great day. And so I just want to start welcoming to the show unconventional me. Greetings to you. Tilin, hello everyone from the from the US. And Anne Eri, hello, darling. Hello, welcome. Good evening, Olga. And I know that there are more people following us, and we will greet the others as we go along. So, uh, Marek, can you tell us? So, the story you told me about how it all started for you, that was the other thing that really interested me because tonight we are going to discuss and talk about different ways of natural healing. And what was really interesting was that you traveled all the way to India to learn and to learn all about, if I may say that, Ayurvedic therapies and Ayurveda in general. And you met some very prominent people in our practitioners in India, and then you came across what is the second part of your life really, and your therapies. Please correct me or just tell us, enlighten us a bit more about that part of your journey, because it sounds like super interesting.
Thank you. Well, I was just been very lucky actually, but I was always interested in meditation, and I started. Probably many of the listeners and you might probably will have read Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramhansa Yogananda.
Mm.
So just a very beautiful, kind of wonderful, inspiring, uplifting story. I read it when I was 15,
Wow.
and kind of started doing yoga asanas then. And a few years later, while I was at uni, I had I just came across an introductory talk about transcendental meditation, just as these things happen, just kind of by accident,
Mm.
and
Mm.
it just sounded so good because I just had lots of lovely kind of meditation experiences at one time, and then they kind of subsided, and I thought, oh, how wonderful that there might actually be a method to experience these. So I learned TM, and I taught TM since 1972. Actually, I've been teaching it. Maharishi
Wow.
made me a teacher in 1972,
Wow.
and in fact, I'm teaching a couple of people on Sunday, which is a very great privilege as well.
Mm.
But
Mm.
then in the 1980s, it was Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. He's the one who kind of hosted the Beatles in Rishikesh,
Mm.
and he felt that actually the world needed a more natural health, prevention oriented
Mm.
healthcare system. And
Yes.
so, and he knew that in India there was this wonderful system called Ayurveda, just as you say. And what he did is he collected all the top um, practitioners of Ayurveda and brought them together. And then he held a course for people from all around the world. And I was very fortunate that I took part in the course. And I have to add, just out of sheer straightforward kind of
Mm.
frankness and honesty at this point, but actually I was ill for most of the course. So
Oh.
this is this is a course about, I think the course was called the course for perfect health or something like that. And
Sounds long.
so that there was a lovely ironic start to my
Yeah.
to the beginning of my journey with Ayurveda.
Mm.
But I learned such wonderful kind of healthcare, self-care principles from that, which I use to this day, and which I tell other people about to this day. Um, Very useful, and some of the people that I met there was a Dr. Triguna who used to take the pulse. So there's a way of taking the pulse with three fingers. And so,
Yes.
for those people that are familiar with Ayurveda, then there's Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, those three main
Yeah.
principles. And he
Correct.
would
Yeah.
take the pulse with the three fingers on the wrist like that, and
Mhm.
then he was able to give you your entire medical history, just
Wow. Mind
just from doing that.
blowing.
And because he was so experienced at this,
Mm.
he'd see about 200 or 300 patients a day, because it wouldn't take him long. You see, he just put
No,
his
that's
fingers
true.
on the person's wrist and then say, "Oh, well, this is the diagnosis. This is the prescription. End of story." And next person,
Imagine.
please. And he did that in kind of like very poor areas of Delhi and in different areas.
Mm.
So he was a very good pulse diagnosis teacher as well. So that was one man. There was another man that I also saw there, Dr. Balraj Maharshi, and he had a kind of gift with plants. So he kind of, I don't know how to exactly say this without just saying it like I'm going to say it, which is that he could talk to plants. And he could hear what plants said, and he could hear the plants would tell him what they were good for in for human health. and
Wow.
which part of them should be used and how it should be used. And so it's like he had, you know, basically people have different, you have wonderful gifts, Daniela, because you do psychic readings, and these are very, we don't all have these, and so this is a
Mm,
very great thing that you have. But this
mm,
particular man, this was his gift, and so I think he was sent into, or this is one of those stories, isn't it? I think he was sent by his teacher into the forest, and he was told to bring back the plants that were of no value to human health.
wow.
And he spent some time looking in the forest, and eventually he came and said, "I'm terribly sorry, to his teacher, I couldn't find anything that wasn't of use to human health." And his teacher said, "You've passed." So, so basically, there's nothing that is not going to be useful in. Oh, how lovely! How very this is a yeah, very lovely about living in Pune in the ashram for 2 years. Yeah, fabulous. Thank you. So then there was that whole kind of second kind of section, and then something else happened actually and this actually happened just after my father died, which was in the year in 2000. And I kind of felt a bit discombobulated at the time. And I went to see basically a lady called Suzanne, who was in Ealing, and she was like yourself, Daniela. So she was very helpful, and her first words to me were, "You've got healing hands."
Mm,
And at the time, I was mostly actually translating. I mean, I was teaching TM, but I was also translating. And when she said that, I thought, no, I haven't. I'm a translator. And basically, I ignored her. And then I saw her a couple more times, and each time she would start and she said, "You've got healing hands." And again, I just ignored it. And then it was another few years passed, and I met somebody else, and they said, "You've got healing hands, and you need to do something about it." And then I thought, "Oops, I'm not going to get get out of this. I'm going to have to do something about this." So I looked online, and I looked at courses and something. Nothing really grabbed me at that time, and so I just, so I started kind of like holding my hands above me. It's almost like Reiki or something
mm,
kind of thing.
mhm,
And I could feel that there was something happening, but I didn't understand it. I didn't really know. And then actually, then in 2013, I was in India again, right in the center of India, listening to just thousand-year-old. It wasn't the people. It's not thousand-year-old pundit recitations, but it was pundits doing recitations that were thousands of
mm,
years old.
mhm,
And it was, and just as an aside, it's very good if 11, well, it's very good if any number of pundits do this particular recitation, but if 11 of them do it, it's wonderful, very good. If you
wow.
can get 11 times 11 doing it, that's 121, then that is really fantastic. If you get
Yeah,
11,
I heard of this actually, perhaps in the past. Which I think it was exactly within the Indian culture, but I can't recall exactly how or when I came across. I mean, I think it might have been about something 20 years ago. I might have heard of that to
mm,
recite. It's probably part of the some type of yoga practices as well. The number 11 that comes.
it's yes, it's part of kind of that Vedic culture. But
Um,
in this particular case, there were 11 times 11 times 11. So
wow.
there were 1,331 Vedic pundits sitting in a hall reciting this particular um, kind of ceremony for world peace, really,
Mm, mm,
um, which they do every day. And it was just enormously powerful experience. At one time, I looked around, and all the visitors from England, different countries, we
Yes.
all had tears running down our faces.
Ah, I bet.
And I spoke to a friend of mine afterwards and said, what was going on during that? And what she said was, well,
Mm.
when they were reciting the Vedas, it felt like my nervous system was being taken apart completely and then put back together properly,
Wow.
how it should be. So there was some kind of inner restructuring taking place.
Mhm.
This isn't the day for talking about recitation so much. But anyway, that's where I was, and my roommate told me that there was a very lovely technique, new therapy that had come out involving touch, and where you would use your hands, and it was called Marma Therapy, Sukshma Marma Therapy, it was called. And he said that it was being actually, I was in the middle of India, and this was a technique which was derived from Ayurveda, but it was being taught in England.
Oh,
So I was in India. So I contacted the organizer and found out when the next beginners course was going to start, because there was one of those a year. And it
right.
turned out that it started the evening that my plane from Delhi landed at Heathrow. Uh, and it was half an hour from the airport. So
Perfect.
so basically, so I said to the organizer, well, probably I shouldn't come because I'll be all jet lagged and
Jet
everything.
lagged. Yeah.
Yeah. And the organizer said, oh, don't forget about the jet lag, just come. So I
Lovely.
did. So I just went straight from the airport there, didn't, without going home. I
Wow.
just went straight there.
How
And
beautiful.
then and there my teacher was Dr. Schrott. He was a German doctor, naturopath, acupuncturist, homeopath, herbalist, and GP as well. Trained GP, trained
Wow.
allopathic
Wow.
doctor.
How
Brilliant,
interesting.
brilliant man. And so I went to this course, and he just seemed just really kind of nice and very sweet man.
Mm.
But he took somebody from the audience, not the audience, I mean, yeah, from among the course participants. He says, does anybody have any problems? And the lady came to the front,
Mm, mm,
and
mm.
yeah, a lady. Oh yes, well, I ignored her. Yes, I did. I did. Yeah, thank you for the comment. Yeah, I did ignore her for quite some time. I can be stubborn as well, but I came round to it eventually. And so a lady came forward who'd had 3 road traffic accidents, and she couldn't move her head, and her back she had whiplash, and she had all kinds of things wrong with her.
Mm.
And Dr. Schrott just took her to the front, and just with a little bit of touch here and there on the Marma points, and I'll go into what the Marma points are a little bit later, but just
Yeah.
by doing a very simple things, just all in front of us, talking to her, talking to us, telling us what he was doing. 20 minutes later, she went,
Oh, wow.
and she said she had no pain.
Oh, wow.
And it was like a miracle had taken place in front of my eyes.
Mm.
And I thought, this is interesting.
Mm.
This is really interesting. And then when I studied, so then I, completed the course. Thank you, Abla. So then when I completed the course, it was actually more like remembering rather than learning.
Mm.
And kind, intuitive people have said that this is probably not the first time that I've done this. Hence that Suzanne picking up and saying that I had healing hands. So and we all have healing hands. It's
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
basically, but people develop different skills in their lives.
That's true.
And I had no idea, by the way. As I said, I was translating in an office on a computer, so this was completely strange and wonderful to me. Anyway, so I finished the courses, 3 weekends, and now I teach them, by the way. And
Mm,
on the last one, I had somebody from the US. This is earlier this month. There was somebody
mm,
from the US came over to study. Somebody
mhm,
from Spain came over.
mhm,
So people are hearing about this and traveling to learn, because it's just a very simple, natural,
mhm,
gentle technique. Thank you, Christine. It is kind of, it is an amazing technique, and it's a technique that anybody can learn and practice, and that's kind of what I
mm,
find enormously thrilling, because I think, because I'm not medically trained,
mhm. I
um,
understand.
but yet, I was at a meeting this morning, and I explained that over a week, somebody had come here with arthritic feet,
Mhm.
and they were in a lot of pain, had difficulty walking. But after the treatment, he said the acute pain had gone, and it was like walking on cotton.
Wow.
And I and then he said I sounded surprised when he told me, because it's just so lovely, so lovely when some result like that happens. And then another lady came along, and she had suffered with depression. She showed me her prescription list, a just
Mhm.
huge number of pills that she was taking every day. And when she got up off the massage couch, then she had the big smile on her face. The depression, and she said, "Oh, that was just so good, so good." And it's just so wonderful to have. Oh, and the man who came from America to do the training, he had a bad back as well. He only told me just before he was leaving, and so I did a back treatment for him, and he wrote back when he was back in America, saying that the treatment was holding up, so he was
Nice.
fine. He was
Wow,
fine.
wonderful, wonderful. Now, if so I wanted to say welcome. Obviously, I didn't want to interrupt you, but we got joined by more people like Erica, Christine, Stacia, Fiona. Good evening, Fiona. Abla will be my guest next week.
Oh, great.
So good evening, Abla, and thank you for joining us tonight. So who else? And then what I wanted to say is, so if anyone has any questions, please do ask. And Stacia is saying, thank you for sharing this. I haven't heard of this. Love learning about new healing modalities, which is what my podcast is a lot about. And Abla is saying, it sounds like the body harmony training I had many years ago, Don McDonald's. Yes, I will. So, oops, there you go. Um, and I just wanted to say, is any of your Ayurvedic knowledge helping you with the Marma? Are they complementary? Or Ayurvedic is something that you practice on the side of Marma?
So, Marma therapy is part of Ayurveda. So it's an Ayurvedic modality.
Uh,
So Ayurveda has many different sides to it. It has, like, the nutrition side, then it has um, prevention-oriented lifestyle information. It has information and specific treatments for specific illnesses. It has a whole detox regime. In fact, in February, I'm going to India to an Ayurvedic clinic. For every year or couple of years, I like
mhm,
to just have a detox, because there's just the air is not always clean where in England. I
Marek,
mean, it's
it
not always
sounds
clean in India
also
either, to be
lovely.
honest.
It sounds also lovely. Can we all come with you?
Yes, absolutely.
It
That
sounds
that'd be
amazing.
it,
Where are
it's
you
lovely.
based? Where are you based?
I'm in Newhaven in East Sussex,
Right,
and
right, okay.
so some people come here, and so I'm in my treatment room at the moment.
Which
I
looks
have a
beautiful. Yeah,
massage couch here,
yeah.
and so people come here for treatments. I
Mhm.
also do distance treatments for people. So
Okay, that's
that's the
interesting.
second thing that I do.
For the
And
followers from outside the UK, in the US in particular, there are quite a few people that I can see that are based in the US. Something that if you are interested in, then you could contact Marek
yes,
afterwards. So tell us a bit more of the distance treatment. How is that happening with the
you know
mom?
how it is. You know how it is that you're thinking of somebody, and the phone rings and it's them. You
Yes.
know that it's that kind of. So basically, our attention is very powerful, and wherever we put our attention, that helps that area to grow, to evolve, to develop, to heal as well.
Mm.
So that's basically it. It happened. It's something that started in 2017. I think I mentioned to you, we used to so years ago, but we used to have a house in Italy. We were very,
Really? Yes, I
yeah,
remember now. You mentioned.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It was just a very beautiful,
Mm. Oh,
very
so
kind of very,
beautiful.
very lovely house, huge house, 5 times bigger than the house that we actually live in England, and with kind of the highest peaks of the Apennines behind, and the
Yeah, that's so
um,
beautiful. I wanted to say welcome to John. John is based in Denmark. Good evening, John. It's okay. We are pleased to see you here tonight, joining us on this event. And so, with the distance, is there any frequently asked questions from people on your treatments?
yes. Well, one question is, what on earth is Marma therapy? That's that's probably the most frequently asked question. That people go, Marma therapy? I've never heard of that. And
Yeah,
so
good
perhaps
evening, Rich.
should
Sorry,
I
carry
just
on.
say, I could
Yeah,
say a couple of words about that,
yes,
because
please.
actually everybody does know about it. It's just that we know it in a different format. Because in addition to the physical body, we also have an energy body, and that energy body has channels within it, which we're probably familiar with the word meridians from
Yes,
acupuncture or
right.
acupressure or shiatsu or reflexology or whichever. And it's the same understanding in Ayurveda, that the body has 72,000 different channels, and
Wow.
the energy kind of flows and interacts with all the different energy systems, and all different physical systems as well.
Mhm.
And then those channels converge, and they converge on certain points on the skin. That is that, uh, and this is why all these different modalities, whether it's acupuncture, acupressure, shiatsu, EFT, reflexology, and probably many others, why
Mhm.
they all use basically the same points on the body, because they're the points that work, because that's the way the body is structured, and has been. And in fact, I've got this little kind of chart here, which is
Yeah.
kind of illegible from at the
From
moment.
but we can see the
You can see a
body,
body.
human
Yeah,
body from the front and the back, I suppose, and then
yeah,
perhaps a legend of some sort at the
yeah,
bottom.
that's right. Or it's also in here. There's a book here with the Marma
Okay,
Therapy,
beautiful. Okay. Yes.
which actually I had the privilege of translating for Dr. Schrott.
Oh, wow. So you're still translating then?
Well, I did. I do very little of it now.
Very little now.
But I
Oh,
do some.
wow.
But I do some. So it's actually, it's got all the points in it
That's so
there.
beautiful.
It is a very beautiful book. It's got
Yeah.
all the it's
I
got all
bet
the
you will
mamas.
have a flavor, like savored it really, because by having to translate it, and I know something about it because I'm a languages teacher. And years ago, I used to be a translator as well. So I understand the type of work that it entails, when you have to translate specifically something which is highly specialized. Abla is saying, is it touching the body and just listening to it? Okay, there is a book, lovely. Okay, yeah, so that is the question. Is it touching the body and just listening to it?
So it's a light touch massage treatment. So actually, there are 20 different ways of treating mamas that
Wow.
Dr. Schrott talked about. But and funnily enough, the first of them is just by consciousness. So it's pure attention without touching. And so that in effect is distance treatment. But the third one is our Marma treatment. And the Marma treatment involves a little bit of movement, and a little bit of stillness. Yes, it is just like touch, but it's a particular type of touch in a particular direction on a particular location. But it's actually very simple. And later on, if we have time, then I can demonstrate, and we can all do it together if
Oh, yes, please.
if everybody would like to.
Yes, of
And
course.
and the Marma therapy. So the book. The particular type of Marma therapy, because Marma therapy is done in different ways, just because the
Wow.
Marmas are used in different ways. But
Wow.
the way that Dr. Schrott taught it was he called it Sukshma Marma Therapy, Sukshma, Sukshma Marma Therapy. And the word Sukshma just means gentle. And the funny thing is, because you can acupressure, you're pressing on them. Acupuncture, you're puncturing them.
Yep, yep.
EFT, tapping, and each of these has their value. I'm not saying that everything has its own value. That's great,
Of course.
but what he found was that it's actually Abla, thank you for the question, but it's actually, of course, we listen to the body, but there are specific movements that we do in a specific sequence as well, in order to have particular effects. But what he found was that if it was done very gently, then what happened? Yeah, and tapping therapy is fine, absolutely. But what he found was that when it's done very gently, basically sometimes gentleness is more powerful than force.
Absolutely. And I talk for myself. I know that my body, rather not than myself, my body reacts even more powerfully in terms of self-healing whenever I go for some sort of healing. It's very gentle. My body doesn't react well to pressure and force, and
That's right.
so I understand that.
And when people are treated very gently in this way, then what happens is that they go very deep very quickly. And what I mean by very deep, it's like the mind just settles down very deep. It kind of transcends. The mind goes to a transcendental area very quickly. And also the body, because when the mind settles down, then the body settles down. So actually, all that we do as Marma therapists is we kind of enliven a natural response in the mind and body where it's just allowed to settle down naturally. when we do this very simple technique.
Mhm.
And then the wonderful thing is, after that, it's the body that takes over. It's nature that takes over. So it's like the body has got its own inner natural healing intelligence. It knows what to do. If we have
Absolutely.
a cut, if we have a cut, we can put a plaster over the cut, but that doesn't heal it. That kind of helps not getting too much dirt in there. But it's the body that does the healing, and that is the kind of wonderful thing with this technique. And I'd like
Absolutely.
to, can I tell you, because I mentioned the kind of experience of something miraculous that I saw Dr. Schrott doing.
Yeah, of course.
And I'd like to tell you about something else which happened in this room, actually, where a lady came who was running another well-being fair shortly after COVID, and she invited me to have a stall there at the fair, but she wanted to check me out first.
Okay. Good enough.
So she came. Yeah, I thought it was fair enough, absolutely fine.
Yeah.
So she came here, and so I gave her a taster treatment. A taster treatment takes about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. And she mentioned, oh, and the thing that she mentioned was that she'd broken her little finger and it was bent, and I could see it was bent, and and it hurt.
Of
So
course.
she had a painful little finger which was bent. She'd been to the doctor about a month before then. The doctor said that he would refer her for surgery so that they would break the finger again, repin it straight, but pin it, pin it straight.
Yeah, it sounds painful,
And
doesn't it?
I know it doesn't sound nice. And so I just did so I did the taster treatment and I added the hand treatment. But that's all I did.
Mm.
And then a couple of days later, she sent me a message and said that she'd been giving a yoga class. She was a yoga teacher.
Okay.
And one of her students said to her, "What's happened to your finger?" And she said, "What do you mean?" And the person said, "Your finger's straight." And she looked at her finger and it was straight and it wasn't hurting anymore. And that sounds very nice. But then she said, "I've got photographs of how it was before, and I've got photographs of how it is now. I've made photographs and I've tried to keep it in the same positions that I did the earlier photographs, which were a month ago for the doctor for the referral to hospital."
Hmm.
So, so it's kind of the question is, what did I do to do that? And
Hmm.
the answer is very little.
Hmm.
What I did was to create a situation where the mind settles down, the body settled down, and then the body healed. I didn't know that was going to happen. And these other things I mentioned to you earlier about the man with the arthritic feet, I didn't know that was going to happen. Um, and so, but as a therapist, when somebody comes along and says to you, "Oh, this wonderful thing happened to me," then to go, yes, that's of course, that's very good. Whereas inside you're going, wow, that's just fantastic, and
I
it's
know.
just lovely. But very these kind, yeah, and but these kinds of things happen. They happen quite a lot. Can I
Hmm.
give another example?
Absolutely. Yes, go for it. We
So,
don't have to stop in 15 minutes. Sometimes, if there
oh,
is a
okay,
lot of interest and we flow, we can go a bit over. It doesn't matter.
thank you. So, I had myself. I had. Yes, that's right, Abla. Yeah, her body rebalanced it. Absolutely, that's exactly what happened. Um, and it's the body that does the healing. The body that does the healing. So, in 2009, I was in Italy, in that place, and I was doing handstands in the pool, and basically I hurt my back,
Ah,
so I had a slip disc, and it
ah,
was very painful. and I had daily treatments for 2 weeks while I was there. Then I flew back to England, and I had treatments every week for 4 months, to, you know, to try and help it. I did go to the doctor. The doctor wrote a note to the physio, and the note said, "This." He put my age in. I should, at
That's
the
okay.
time. We'll leave that out. This something aged man hurt his back doing handstands in the pool. Please, could you sort him out so that he can continue doing the handstands?
Right.
So that was the doctor's. That was the doctor's, and that was the
That's
doctor's
as
note.
far as he went.
So then I went every week. So this is fantastic business for the therapist, because I was going every week.
Yeah.
Now, I had somebody a few weeks ago. A mother brought her son here, who had a slip disc. He loved playing tennis. He hadn't warmed up before playing. He had a slip disc, and it was one treatment. It was one treatment, and he was fine. He's playing tennis, so it wasn't daily treatments for 2 weeks followed by weekly treatments for 4 months.
Right.
So from the business point of view, that's not brilliant for the therapist, because it's much better, isn't it, if you get somebody coming every week. But from from the real kind of wonderful point of view, then
Yeah.
it's such a fantastic thing. And the mother actually talked about this. Because she came to a meeting where she said this had happened, and then the owner of the building, the facility where we were meeting, who's a restaurateur, he'd actually been here, and the same thing had happened to him. In his case, he'd been for 2 treatments. So I'm not saying that it'll always be one, but
Okay.
it's going to be many, many fewer, and very often it is just one. So it's a really lovely, simple technique that even people like me can do. And it's something that anybody, you need to enjoy that kind of thing. It's
Well,
like,
I think that half of the power is the decision for us to wanting to be open, to be healed, and to heal ourselves. And then whatever energy or application like therapy we receive, then the body will welcome it and work with it, isn't it? So, and I strongly believe in the power of attraction. So whoever will come your way is because somehow, somewhere, the body feels that that sort of therapy will be beneficial, so that we all go to all different therapies, and sometimes our body doesn't resonate with some, but it will do really, really well with others. And I am absolutely sure that, as you say, with a lot of humbleness, it's not that you do, but I'm sure that, it's part of the way and your energies work, that they are even the more effective on the client, right?
yes, it's very true that we're attracted to different therapies, and that's absolutely right.
And so
And
when they come to you, how long is the therapy for? Is it an hour? Is it more? Is it less?
so it kind of depends. So sometimes I'll give it, this is another little story, but I was at a different well-being fair, and somebody came along just for a taster treatment. And the taster treatments, which you've seen me do, Daniela, because I was
Yes,
doing them at that Felbridge fair,
that's right. Yeah.
and they take what, 20 minutes, something like that. So they're very short. So he came for a treatment, and he mentioned that he had a bad knee, and he'd had that for some years. And so again, it was so and the lady with the finger, the crooked finger, that was 10 minute treatment. Okay, so
Wow.
this chap with the knee, again 10 minutes, And then I didn't see him again for 2 or 3 years. And then he came up to me and he said, "You know that treatment that you did for me?" And actually, I didn't, you don't always remember everybody. But he um, he said that his knee had stopped hurting. That had gone away then.
Wow.
So it can be that. There can be like a 40-minute treatment for one single thing. Um, most people come for either a 60-minute treatment or a 90-minute treatment.
Okay.
And so if when somebody comes here, there's a brief consultation, there's a form as always to fill in,
Mm,
and we discuss what the person is there for and what they would like, basically, what the intention is of the treatment.
mhm,
And then there's the treatment itself.
mhm,
And then there's some minutes of rest afterwards,
mhm.
and just kind of possibly some recommendations afterwards. So
Yes,
that's how it is.
yes, of course. And with your recommendations, are these recommendations somehow related to Ayurvedic?
Yes,
Um, yes.
very often. Yes, very often there'll be Ayurvedic, or in some cases, I might say, that actually they might benefit from visiting a more intuitive person in order to get some guidance,
Okay,
or
it's
yeah,
interesting.
or it might be that I suggest that in their case, transcendental meditation might be very helpful,
Mhm,
or it might be, it can be different things.
mhm,
Um, yeah, it can be different things,
mm,
but
mm,
but
mm,
many of the recommendations will be Ayurvedic ones. Yes,
mm,
so
mhm.
lifestyle recommendations based on Ayurvedic principles.
That's very interesting. As you were talking, and
Yes,
you the one thing that really did strike home was the power of self-healing, although
yeah,
often this will be activated by
yeah.
therapies such as the Marma one. And recently, a friend of mine bought me this a book as a present.
Mm.
And it says the Encyclopedia of Ailments and Diseases and how to heal the conflicted feelings, emotions, and thoughts at the root of illness. What do you think about this? Do you think that feelings, emotions, and thoughts are at the root of illness? And therefore, once we heal that side of us as well, perhaps some ailments or major diseases could regress.
One of the so I was very interested to find that the Marma therapy works not just on the physical level, but it works on emotions as well. And
Wow.
people find that emotions. So, like I mentioned earlier about the lady with depression, and
Right.
there was another lady who came here following a bereavement, and and she was just crying and crying and crying and crying,
Mm,
and I didn't know what to do really. And then I gave her a taster treatment, so it's just 10 minutes sitting in a chair,
mhm.
and she was smiling. She left smiling. So yeah, mind affects body, body affects mind. Emotions
Absolutely.
get very locked in different
Mhm.
parts of the body, depending
Absolutely.
on we have so many different experiences in this life and possibly in previous ones as well. So
Absolutely.
there's been a
Yeah,
lot a lot that's happened.
that's
But
happened.
what where the I should just kind of mention one important. It's an Ayurvedic principle, and it's a very important thing in Ayurveda in Marma therapy, which is that there are these 107 principal points on the body that we treat. So
Wow.
107. So that I know all their Sanskrit names and I know how to treat them.
Mhm.
And but 107 is an unusual number in Vedic understanding because the number is always 108 there. 108 is the kind of magic number, if you like. So
Okay.
what's missing from that list?
Right.
Why is it 107? So it's 107 points on the body, and the 108th is Atma. Atma is like the self with a capital S. And when we, yes, thank you, Krish, for confirming. Yeah. So yes, the one that's missing is Atma. So that's the 108th. And that's pure consciousness. So when people, yes, that's right, it is soul. That's absolutely right. So when we treat one mama, then we're treating, because they're all interconnected, we're treating the whole network of mamas. When that whole network of mamas is treated, it enlivens the 108th. And the 108th mama is Atma. And that is actually why people go so deep in this technique, because they're going to that level, they're experiencing that direction of, they're going to pure consciousness itself. And if you go there, that's the area that controls everything else: mind, emotions, physical, the body, every area. And to answer Lynn's question here about does it also help with circulation issues? Well, actually, Marma therapy is about circulation. It's about the flow of energy in the energy body. But when what happens in those nadis or meridians is that you can get blockages in them. And when you get blockages, then you can get physical symptoms, which can include circulation issues. But if you can, if we can get that energy going, which we do by that very gentle treatment of the mamas, then that enlivens the flow of that natural energy. And then what happens is that the physical symptoms begin to recede as well. So yes, that's in answer to that question.
That is beautiful. So you were mentioning that you wanted to give us a demonstration where we can follow your instructions and we can do some self-healing.
Yes. Okay. Then I'll just give it a couple of minutes of background on this, and which is that over the years I found that this Marma therapy was so wonderful that, oh yeah, lovely. Thank you. You're very welcome, and I'm sure Daniela will put up my website up
I will
later,
do.
and
I will
we can
do,
get in
yes.
contact. But it's basically marmatherapy.org. Then, so I thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if Marma therapy was available in every home? Well, people can do different things, but wouldn't it be wonderful if it was available? And then, and I thought, I'm here in New Haven. I'm not in my first flush of youth. How am I going to, do any of this? And then it was last December that I remembered something, and actually I was doing a very short translation, which gave me the idea to connect two things. So the one thing, which is actually in this book, the Marma Therapy book that I mentioned, but Dr. Schrott mentions that obviously, the Earth, we can't live without the Earth, we can't live without the sun, but the moon affects us a lot as well. And according to this kind of traditional knowledge, kind of, which is written on palm leaves in South India, the moon enlivens or lights up a different part of the body, a different marma point, different energy point on the body each day as it travels through the lunar cycle. So as it goes, and it starts at the toe at new moon, and then it travels up the different marma points up to Adipati at the top here on day 15, and then it travels down the other side back down to the other toe. So if we treat the marma of the moon of the day for ourselves, then it can be really lovely, actually. It can be nice for ourselves, kind of calming and nice. Over time, if we follow that sequence as the moon's going up and down, then it can give us more vitality and energy and more feeling of flow in life, and actually even better health, according to doctors. Or yeah, and then so I've got a kind of little system. It's called Marmas of the Moon. It's on that website I mentioned, marmatherapy.org. But and you can try it for yourself. So each day you can get a notification which tells you what is the marma, you know, which marma is enlivened on that day, where it is on the body, how to treat it, and there's even a little video there showing you how to treat it. And you can just have a free, you know, like a free trial for 30 days, and you know, like that. Okay, so today's Marma of the Moon. So this is sorry, that was the background. Today's Marma of the Moon is the pit of the throat. And so what we do is we do using the right hand. What is the website again? It's Marma Therapy. That's MARMA Therapy, marmatherapy.org, O-R-G. But I'm sure Daniela will put it up at the end anyway.
I will do.
So,
Yes.
but now what we do, we do a clockwise circle. So clockwise is somebody looking at it. Don't worry if you get this bit wrong, but it's basically we're aiming for clockwise, and we do one slow circle, and then we stop. And then we do 3 slow circles. And stop. Then we do 5 circles. This will finish, by the way, at some point. We won't go on to infinity, but we're just doing 5 now. And stop. And this is very gentle. It's like barely touching, no pressure, no pushing, very gentle. And then 7. And this is the last one for now. And stop. And I'd like to ask how that feels. Would anybody like to say what you know, if you felt anything, how it felt in doing that?
So as far as I'm concerned, I felt really centered. I felt as if all of my chakras were lining up, one on the top of the other. And I had the space over the front of the crown chakra opening up with a white light shining upon me. And it gave me a great sense of calm and
Yeah.
peace.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Calming. Lisa says calming. That's beautiful, Daniela. Yeah, calm and a bit sleepy. If the body's tired, then some sleepiness could be there. Yeah, but that lovely, the calm and very beautiful about the chakra and the white light and it's like an inner connectedness and I notice that I'm speaking even more quietly now. so so it's been so then
This is lovely what Lisa
this
is
this is
saying.
beautiful, Lisa. This is lovely. My mind was all over the place beforehand. This centered me. Glad I jumped on. Good. Yeah, very good. So you're very welcome. If you go to the website, look at Mamas of the Moon and some tears too. Okay. Yes, could be
Some
some
emotional
something,
release there as well.
some emotional release. Absolutely. As the mind and body settle down, then the body can begin to, very beautiful. Yeah.
To
Thank you.
heal.
Thank you, Krish.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Lovely. Okay.
Fiona
So
is saying relaxed and the skin felt like silk, which was a surprise.
yeah,
And Olga is
more
saying more
peaceful.
peaceful.
Mm.
What a lovely feedback. Huh? Everybody
Yeah.
is on the same wavelengths.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very wonderful. So this is it's another technique. And so so we launched this last December, and it's not huge numbers of people who do this, but we've got people in Australia and India and Pakistan and different countries in Europe, including Italy and France and Germany and
Mm.
the
When you say
Scandinavian
we
countries.
launched, whom are you talking about?
So it's me and the person who knows how to do computer things. So I
Okay,
have
all right, fair enough. It's a
so it's
team
like
effort.
I can have ideas, you see. I have ideas. And then I mention them to my technical person, and he goes, "Oh yeah, we can do this. We can do it like this and like this." It's like, I kind of think, well, it'd be really nice if everybody could do this. And then
Yeah.
he goes, well, there are these ways of doing it. So that so that
That's
that that's the
beautiful.
that's the we. So it's very, very wonderful and useful to have somebody who can, give
Oh,
you that.
absolutely. Yes, we
Give,
cannot be jack of all trades, can we?
no,
We need to
that's
concentrate on what we do best, right?
absolutely. That the IT side is not my
No,
is not my skill, not my
no,
skill set.
no. Oh,
So I know we have to be finishing soon, but just want to mention a couple of things. One is that I also run workshops. I do like
okay.
1-day workshops where you can learn how to do this lovely technique for yourself and for your family. And I've got it out. I've got one. Thank you very much. Um, so I've got one coming up on the 30th of November, which is what, in a week's time? In a week's
Yeah.
time, Saturday. It's Saturday. And again, and you can sign up for that if you would like.
Is that
Through
online that is?
Is it
Online.
on? No, it's in person.
Oh,
That's in
in
person.
person. Okay.
That one's in person. But
Hmm.
I'm sure there will be an online version eventually. But at the moment, that's still in person
In
here
person.
in New Haven. But as I mentioned, people do come from America and
Mm, mm,
Spain and France and even
mm,
Malaysia for
mm,
treatments here. So
mm,
people do travel quite a long way for this Marma therapy.
mm.
So that's one thing. And there's going to be another one on February the 8th, but there's also a tab on that same website, marmatherapy.org, which is called workshops. And so you find that there. And then I also train people. That isn't on the website, but I do train people to do this as well.
Well,
So
that sounds beautiful. And Courtney is saying beautiful work you do. And
thank you, Courtney.
absolutely, I'm sure we all
Thank you.
agree on that. And such a gentle and simple demonstration has got the room to feel all relaxed. Everybody's feeling relaxed now.
Yeah.
And
Mm,
Courtney is saying to you, Marek, you're a very soft soul. And
thank
it's so true. And I am a strong believer that we are on the outside what we are inside, and this is the energy that we emanate. And so there is that feeling of wholesomeness when it comes to therapy work, where you know
Thank you,
you
Krish.
don't feel like even you don't really feel like working somehow, because the energy comes and goes from you, and it's always at the same level, at the level that it's needed and necessary. So it's utterly beautiful. Um, so Stacey is saying, I missed it. I missed it. We had a Hokeland in our yard. Oh my God.
Lovely,
That's
beautiful.
that's so beautiful, isn't it? So, well, what can I say? That sounds, uh, I'm pretty sure if anyone, so let me put it this way, because we need to wrap up now the evening. But
Yeah.
if you want to ask any questions, Marek, can you tell us? So Lisa is saying, I have just trained as a spiritual healer for the spiritualist church I attend. Definitely a lovely energy you both have. Thank you. Very calming voices. Listening. Shame I missed the beginning. Will there be a replay link? Lisa, yes. If you go to the School of Conscious Evolution on YouTube, you will find this show recorded. So, and all the other show that I've had so far. And I just wanted to say also, I didn't get time to celebrate that I just hit the first, actually it's just over, it's gone over 100 viewers with 2,100 likes or subscribers, but actually there are 2,400 hours of viewing my videos, which is amazing. I
Well
find,
done.
and I am
Mm.
so happy that so many people are finding these videos with my guests so full of information and helpful as well. So I just wanted to say thank you, Chris. So if you have any questions for Marek, you can feel free to contact him directly. I will put all of the links that Marek will be sending me up for grabs or use. And I know, Marek, for a fact that you will be getting a few bookings from here, from this evening show.
Thank you.
And certainly you have inspired us to try and connect more to our uh, quantum selves so that we can enable our body to activate itself and do the healing that it so badly needs, may I say. So Lisa saying, please put the link on here as I couldn't write that down quickly enough. Thank you for your energies. That is fine. So is there anything else that you would like to add, Marek?
Yes, I'd just like to thank you. Actually, thank you so much for inviting me here, and I'd like to thank everybody who's been watching and who's been putting these great questions and wonderful comments. And thank you also for doing the Mamas of the Moon, today's Mama of the Moon together, and how wonderful that such a simple thing can have such a profound effect. Lovely. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much.
Beautiful. It's been really beautiful and to have you here. Perhaps maybe we can organize some another event, like having a chat with you sometime in the new year,
Lovely.
in 2025. Thank you to everybody that have joined us tonight. If you wanted to find my YouTube link, it's the School of Conscious Evolution. I will be typing on my Facebook page, Daniela R. Florio, all of the details where you can find Marek. And thank you very much. And at last, I just wanted to say that next week will be my last episode for this year of the School of Conscious Evolution. And my guest of honor will be Abla El-Zahari. She's a wonderful evidential medium, and she's the most joyful and open-hearted soul with a lot to say and a lot to give. And we will be doing readings. Abla will be doing readings for you joining us. Thank you again, Marek. And it's been a joy having you on here on this show. And I'm sure we will be seeing you very soon. And thank you, everyone. And take care. And I'll see you next.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.